This episode of the Shooting Star Press podcast brought to you by Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime, your source for great deals on Amazon and free shipping, and you also get a connection to Amazon Prime Video and Amazon Prime Music and all the other things. Sign up for a 30-day free trial down in the description below. Amazon Prime. That's right. Welcome everybody to the Shooting Star Press, your source for the latest in wrestling news. Yo, welcome to the Shooting Star Press, where you are on a ride with us through the greatest in combat sports, combat sports entertainment, all that stuff, all of those things. And now, here are your hosts, the closest thing in podcasts to everybody's favorite tag team Pokemon. We have Hitmonlee and Hitmoncloud. Yeah, that's what's up.
That's what's
How's
up.
How's it going, Ryan Cloud?
Well, I can tell you one thing. It's going a lot better for me than it is for Paige right now.
Yes, that's probably true. Somebody's off JBL into whatever they found. That's all I gotta say.
There's probably a lot of people off JBL into what they found.
Let me see if I can find them right quick. Nope, no time for that.
No.
Let's go back to this. I keep getting ads on my Skype for American Express. Okay, maybe American Express wants me to buy these pictures. But yeah, I guess we could start with that with a little bit of rumor, if you want to, if that's what you're angling on, Ryan Cloud.
Wasn't angling on it, but might as well talk about it.
Okay, so Paige Knight, everyone's favorite British phenom, femme fatale, whatever you want to call her, who possibly is going to be released once she gets done from, once she comes back from being broken neck,
shoulder, I think.
Yeah. Who possibly will be released once she comes back from having a broken shoulder. She had her unmentionables plastered all over the internet. Somebody hacked into her account. I don't know if it was an iCloud thing or what, but my dudes, you got to be careful where you put your passwords. That's how these happen. People aren't hacking into things. They're not hacks. They're called social engineering, where they send you a link that says your Facebook account has been hacked. Please put in your Facebook password so we can unhack your hacked account. Then you put it in, and then you realize that you put it in somewhere that's not good. Ron Cloud, has that ever happened to you?
It has never happened to me, but I
Good
mean, which there wouldn't be anything like that to find for me, but
I don't know. I done seen what was on your computer.
What? Lies. But
all those Lindsay Lohan pictures. I know how it is.
What? No, sir. Not at all. But I mean, this wasn't just a simple, like photo or two leaked. We're talking about there was some other stuff. There was a lot of things, and yeah, that's just that's gotta suck. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's
yeah.
To put it lightly, that is unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean that's how I think Bleacher Report put it, or it might have been how she put it, and Bleacher Report reported on it as she said it's unfortunate, which is interesting. But yeah, dude, watch where you're putting your stuff, and if you don't want it getting out there, don't do it. If you don't care about it getting out there, or you're pretty sure you're secure using like 5 layers of encryption, all that stuff, like I do. I'm behind 7 firewalls. Come at me, bro. Actually, don't come at me.
Please don't. I was joking.
It's only 1, dudes. Calm down.
People out here be like, "Oh, he got 7. Let me see if I can crack this shit."
Don't go Shia LaBeouf on me trying to find my flag. Using like crazy space engineering and flight patterns like they did with him. But dude, yeah. So you want to hit more rumors now, or you want to take it back to later?
We can hold it off. But one little rumor that's connected to that. Apparently, one of the people identified in one of the videos is Xavier Woods. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Once you go black, you go Mexican? That doesn't make sense.
No. Just
Ryan
keep a
Cloud,
minority, I guess. I don't know.
Ryan Cloud, you weigh in on that. I'm sure you've got some thoughts on that one.
All of my exes don't live in Texas.
Live in Texas?
But yeah. I'm not commenting anymore.
Yeah.
So we can just move on.
All right.
Getting a little bit too personal for me.
It's the internet. That's what it's all about, is getting personal and weird. I mean, have you been on Tumblr?
I have a few times.
Oh golly. Don't tell us about Tumblr. I don't want to know where you've been.
It ain't even like that.
I mean
to conclusions. We gotta get to wrestling. Let's get off my life.
But you know who does jump to, well, I don't know, not jump to conclusions, but did jump and had I don't know how to broach this. Did you get a chance to check out the Ring of Honor 15th anniversary pay-per-view this past week?
I haven't got a chance to watch all of it, but I did get a chance to see some stuff.
Dude, I'm afraid to. Oh, I know one thing you saw. That's what I was leading into. Dude, overall, this show was probably one of the better pay-per-views I've seen all year. I've seen a few pay-per-views all year. You can thank WWE for that. All their millions of pay-per-views.
It'll be 80 pay-per-views by April.
Yeah, gosh. But Ring of Honor 15th anniversary, it was one of the best shows I've seen in a long time, actually. Dude, the biggest thing that happened, well, there was a couple big things that happened. Several belts went up. We had the fight between Bobby Fish and Jay Lethal, which was amazing. Bobby Fish's kicks are devastating. If you don't know who Bobby Fish is, go check out this match. Bobby Fish versus Jay Lethal. And it's going to determine who is going to go for I think it's the TV title, but I'm not sure. But it was an amazing match. And they've been building to this. They're both faces, but at the same time, they can both tell a really good story together. And like usually when you see a face versus face match, you don't really care. It's not something that has any impact on anything, but this actually does have some kind of impact. And Fish and Lethal have been feuding through other people for a little while now, and this is probably one of the better matches to watch. But that's going to lead me into one of the scariest spots I've ever seen. So Dalton Castle and the boys took on the Kingdom, and man, this match was also amazing. Dalton Castle, if you haven't checked any Dalton Castle out, you need to check him out. Have you seen Dalton Castle before?
Once or twice.
He's the Peacock guy. And it was Dalton Castle and the boys versus the Kingdom. The Kingdom, the match was a thing of beauty until the very end when TK O'Ryan set up a moonsault off the apron. And I know this is what you saw. And if you people haven't seen it, this is not for the faint of heart or the queasy of stomach, because it is a horrible botch. TK O'Ryan launches himself off into the group at ringside, because he takes it off the apron into the group, and he's flying, and he just overshoots them. He still hits them, but he overshoots them just a little bit. And I don't know, the way a Ring of Honor show is set up is, instead of having like padded guards around the ring, they've just got like guardrails that, I don't know, like you've been to a concert or something, the guardrails that they usually have if the place doesn't provide if the promotion doesn't provide their own guardrails. So they've got these guardrails, and these move all throughout the show because people are up against them, shaking them, all that stuff. And I don't know if maybe it moved during the show or TK O'Ryan just didn't realize that it was as far off as it was. But he hits this moonsault, and it's a pretty moonsault. But he hits it a little bit too far, and his shins both hit the railing on the guardrails, and you see his legs snap, and it hits him midway through the shins. They snap, and you see his legs just kick forward like he's got a backward knee later on, low down his leg, and but he still hits the move, and it's still a beautiful move even though he hits it, even though he hits the guardrail. And they pop up and they finish the match as quick as possible, and he's got to be carried out of the ring or out of ringside. But man, TK O'Ryan, props to him because that's so unfortunate. But at the same time, he's I don't know if you've been on his Twitter since the actions or anything, but he's making jokes about it. The tweet I sent you, do you have that tweet handy?
I don't have it handy, but I can get it handy. I noticed that he did kind of poke fun at himself. He was talking about how he was disappointed at the internet because he thought someone would make a funny post about it, or funny edit about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a bunch of random things. And on ProWrestlingTees.com, he's got on his store, he posted up a new shirt that you can buy, and it's going to go to his medical bills. Of course, because we all know how crazy U.S. medical system is right now. But the shirt says, "I broke TK's leg," and in the letters is a guardrail. It's awesome. I love it when people can make fun of themselves at the same time. Like, I don't know if I'd call it make fun of themselves, but poke fun at the situation. Because everything should be allowed to be made fun of to a point. Yeah. And especially when they're making fun of it themselves. So, I mean, TK O'Ryan, man, he's probably, I like this guy. I haven't seen very much of him because I don't really care very much for the Kingdom all that much. But at the same time, TK O'Ryan, he's got I give him props, if you get what I'm saying. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, anytime you can make fun of yourself after something like that happens, you know that you have to have a sense of humor. But, yeah, I'm actually just sitting here watching that clip on replay. And
you're sadistic.
I can't help it. This is America. We love violence, especially accidental violence. But so it's not just me. But, yeah.
I mean, that's why this whole sport exists.
Exactly. Yeah, it almost looks like the rails shouldn't be that close because, I mean, he just barely shoots. He shoots just enough for the move to be botched. Like, I don't think that rail is supposed to be that close.
Yeah, and that's what a few people who've already talked about this, and a few people I've talked to said. They said it seems like it's moved closer to the ring than it should have been. And like I said, at a Ring of Honor show, those railings, they move back and forth. I mean, they're not secured down all that much just because they're railings, right. And there's temporary railings. They're not like a WWE show where everything is kind of rolled out and then assembled and it's like always the same. Ring of Honor, it's set up by the venue, but it's also set up under the guise of under the watchful eyes of the people that run Ring of Honor. So, like, I've been to Ring of Honor shows, and throughout the night, they regularly had to push the crowd back and stuff. So, I mean, that's one of the good things about going to a Ring of Honor show, but I guess working a Ring of Honor show, it could be, as we saw, detrimental to your health. But it's good for the fans at the same time, but it could be bad for the talent, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that. Go back and watch that match if you haven't watched it. And dude, just go back and watch this whole pay-per-view. They also debuted Bully Ray Dudley. Sorry, the other name is under contract with WWE. But they debuted Bully Ray in a match where it was Bully Ray and Bully Ray and the Briscoes fighting Davey Boy Smith Jr. and War Machine. And dude, it was all about that. This whole Ring of Honor pay-per-view was probably to a little bit extent of this, but it was all about that throwback to the ECW. Like, they were making all the random ECW references, the get the tables, all that stuff. Dude, this was also an amazing match. And they didn't really have to, like, normally when you have legends come back, you have to carry them through a match and stuff like that. But it didn't seem like they were having to carry Bully Ray through the match at all. And at the end, they hit a 3D, but it was like, I guess it'd be a 9D because it was the Briscoes and Bully Ray hitting a 3D on Davey Boy Smith. I think it was Davey Boy Smith. And they dominated it. Dude. And I have a feeling this is going to lead to a Davey Boy Smith and War Machine feud because there was a little bit of a scuffle between Davey Boy Smith Jr. and War Machine after the match. They didn't like the fact that they lost. If that makes any sense, because I wouldn't like that fact.
No, that I would not like that fact at all.
Oh no.
I'm good.
You know who else is saying oh no? TNA. TNA is saying oh no.
TNA is saying oh no. Has been saying oh no a lot lately.
Yeah, and they definitely were saying oh no in response to the next match that was on the card. So this has been building for a little bit. It's been Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice, and they've been talking about having Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice for a while. And then, as we said last week, the Hardys showed up at the show the week before, just randomly. And now they've actually come in and they showed up at this pay-per-view and they just tore the house down. It's ridiculous. It was hard. So the Roppongi Vice and the Young Bucks, they still had their match, but since the Hardys were brought in, they said, okay, well, the Hardys can come into the match too. And initially, it was going to be Young Bucks, Roppongi Vice in a street fight. A Las Vegas rules street fight. I don't know how it's any different from a regular street fight, but that's what it was. Basically a hardcore match. And we had the Hardys included in this match, so they kept it. Roppongi Vice said, well, we'll keep it as a street fight. And right off the bat, this match was amazing. Right off the bat, though, you had the Hardys versus the Young Bucks, basically, and occasional inclusions of Roppongi Vice. You know, like the two main guys are fighting, then all of a sudden they would like, oh, let's throw a punch on this guy because he happens to be coming up to mess up our fight. And then at one point, Roppongi Vice pulls out a sleeve, a Japanese. I think I've seen a lot of Japanese hardcore matches. It's a thumbtack sleeve. It's a sleeve that's just covered in. It's a spiked sleeve, and you start bopping people with it. Just like I bopped just like I peeked the mic there. You start bopping people with it, and I think it's Beretta. He ran around hitting everybody, the Young Bucks and the Hardys, with this sleeve and just bopping them with it, hitting them so they bring it up a little bit of blood over and over again. And man, that was only the start of it. The other guy on Roppongi Vice, he pulls out a bag full of tacks and pours them all over the ring. And as he's doing this, he starts to take I think it's Matt. I think he took Matt into the pile. And as that's happening, Matt Jackson, takes Matt Jackson to the pile. And then Matt Hardy ran up and slammed into him. And his back got covered in the thumbtacks. And they were just rolling around these thumbtacks the whole time until they wound up throwing, I think, Beretta into the pile of thumbtacks. He took his face into the thumbtacks, which is scary as I can't even think of anything that's that scary to see somebody taking their face full of thumbtacks. I think he got pulled off the turnbuckle into, I think it was a suplex, and his face went into the thumbtacks, and then Matt Jackson grabbed him and grabbed a handful of these thumbtacks, threw it into his mouth, and the other young buck, the other Jackson brother, he hit him with a super kick with his mouth full of thumbtacks. And then the Hardys grabbed Beretta and put him on a table, and they had this table with a ladder. Somehow this ladder got into the ring, and it was kind of weird to see a ladder in a Street Rules match, but dude, I know why it was there. It was for Jeff Hardy. He hits this swanton off the ladder into Beretta and onto the table, and it just demolishes him. And that's how they ended the match. But I forgot to mention that Matt Hardy threw Beretta with a twist of fate. Well, both of the Hardys twist of fated the Young Bucks into these piles of pins as well. It was a brutal match. It was also probably one of the matches of the night. But if I keep saying that, I'm going to call every match of this pay-per-view
everything a match of the night.
But the one that was actually the event of the night was the main event. But before I get to that, the Hardys, they took the win, and they took the tag team belts and the super kick champion belts. These are belts that the Young Bucks had made for themselves. You know, like they had the $1 million belt for Ted DiBiase and Steve Austin when Steve Austin first came in, or the random gimmick belts that people occasionally make for themselves.
The Brahma Bull belt.
Yeah, stuff like that. So they had this thing called the Super Kick belts, Super Kick champion belts, and the Hardys stole those and ran off with them. Dude, this is gonna lead to a pretty good feud between the Hardys and the Young Bucks. It's gonna be great. But the other thing that was great was the main event, Christopher Daniels versus Adam Cole for the Ring of Honor Heavyweight Championship. And dude, I don't think I've seen a match that was this good in a while. I got my notes here, and my notes say the Daniels promo was touching. Wow. Then Colt is a very heely announcer, because they had Colt Cabana on commentary. And then I don't have any more notes because I just stopped taking notes because it was so good. At one point, Adam Cole hits a winged angel on Christopher Daniels and starts to take him out, and he gets out of it. Hits him again with it. He gets out of it. And Christopher Daniels takes a super kick to the face and knocks him into the ring post, and the ring post busts his eyebrow open, because I don't know if you've ever hit your head against something and it busts part of your skin apart. But that's what happened. And during the rest of this match, he is just bleeding profusely. It's not like a John Cena hardcore match that happened where he was covered in blood, but it's more like a Stone Cold passes out from blood loss in a sharpshooter level of blood. And
that is a lot of blood.
yeah, it's everywhere. But it's Adam Cole, and every time you think that Daniels is done, Adam Cole's got him wrapped up, and Daniels gets out and fights back. But the whole time you can see Daniels seems like he's a little stumbly later on in the match. So you can tell he's lost quite a bit of blood. But as it's going, you think that Christopher Daniels is about to lose, and he fights back again, and then somebody else's music's hit. Frankie Kazarian comes out, and Adam Cole's about to hit Daniels with the belt, and Kazarian convinces him to give him the belt so he can hit him. So everybody's thinking that Kazarian is going to seal the deal and hit Daniels in the face with the belt, and it doesn't happen. Kazarian throws the belt out of the ring, rips off his shirt, and he's wearing the Destiny shirt that Addiction has with the little dragon that they have on their singlets. And so he rips off the Bullet Club shirt, and he's got that on there, and that gives Daniels enough time to recover, and he takes the fight back to Adam Cole and takes the win. And as he takes the win, Kazarian grabs him, starts holding him up, and he's got everything going, and they declare the winner, and Adam Cole skulks off. He's sitting at the top of the ramp, and as he's sitting at the top of the ramp, the entire Face locker room comes out to the ring, and they're saying how amazing Christopher Daniels has been for how long he's been there and all this stuff. And they give him the belt, and he starts holding it up, and then they bring out Ring of Honor's first ever belt from their first year of existence, and they give him that belt too. It was, I don't know, mind-blowing. I don't know if I'd call it a match of the year. Well, I call it a match of the year contender right now, but later on in the year, I don't know if I'd call it one of those. But it's definitely one of the best matches I've seen in a long time. I don't know if I call it one of the best, what's going to be the match of the year, but it's definitely a contender this early on. And if I were going to call a pay-per-view of the year so far, this is probably the pay-per-view of the year. Man, if you're going back to watch anything this past week, go back and watch this pay-per-view. Watch the Kazarian Adam Cole match. Watch the Kingdom versus Dalton Castle and the Boys match, and watch the Hardys Young Bucks Roppongi Vice match. Those are that's definitely an idea. The other weird thing was the Go Home show for Ring of Honor, which the Go Home show is the show that's right before the pay-per-view. It was the day after the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. I thought that was interesting because the pay-per-view was on Friday and the Go Home show was on Saturday. It was comedy. I don't know if it was poor planning on their part or poor planning on the network's part. But
just blame the network. That's what we always do. Just blame the network.
That's the best idea. I'm going to blame TNA because did you hear what TNA was doing when this pay-per-view was going on?
I have not heard, but it's TNA, or I should say it's Impact Wrestling. So
that's
I'm not
true.
going
Sorry,
to be surprised.
I forgot.
TNA is dead.
But Impact was sending out cease and desist letters, but they didn't send them to the Hardys. They didn't send them to Ring of Honor. They sent them to any television promotion that was showing the pay-per-view, and they sent them to receive them right when the pay-per-view started, because the Hardys were going to be on the pay-per-view. So TNA is like I said, TNA is burning bridges they've burnt so many bridges by doing something like that.
Yeah, that's well. First of all, a cease and desist letter is pretty much just a plea to stop doing what you're doing. Um,
Yeah, true.
but the Hardys aren't under contract with. I guess because of the broken gimmick. I guess is the reason why they sent it.
Yep, that's it.
That's okay. It just hit me as I was talking that's probably why, and that's we talked about it last week. I don't trying to lay claim to something that you didn't create. Isn't that plagiarism, copyright? I don't know, but that's ridiculous. And TNA and my bad. No, I can say
Impact.
TNA. I can say TNA because when it was TNA and ROH always had a good working relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, they always had a good working relationship. You know, you always saw, superstars from TNA go back to ROH, work some shows. You know, they had a good crossover relationship. I remember plenty of times where AJ Styles would do it, or Christopher Daniels would do it, or Kazarian and all of that. But yeah, you're burning bridges that I don't think you really want to, because now ROH probably is gonna be like, yo, we don't want any of our talent going to TNA, or something along those lines. Which is terrible for TNA. Which is probably why we're seeing what's happening in TNA happen right now.
That's true. But I mean, it's not even that they're burning bridges with ROH directly. They're burning bridges with TV, with networks. And we know how much trouble they have staying on a network. So if they are burning bridges like this, where are they going to go once they lose the pop contract?
Go ahead.
I don't know.
They're pretty much, yeah, the fact that they're burning bridges with television companies is probably not something they should be doing right now. All things considered, it's inevitable that they're probably going to lose their pop contract eventually.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be anywhere for them to go. I mean, they've worn out their welcome everywhere they go. Heck, it took Destination America. We're talking about Destination America. Like 3 months to realize we don't want to do this anymore. So I don't know.
Unfortunate.
I don't know. Yeah, and I had Destination America since it's been on Pop. I've not really been able to. I've had to find other means to keep up with TNA, but that's neither here nor there. They've got to start making friends.
Yeah.
Impact and Anthem have got to start making friends. I don't understand. I don't know if it's like they're just they think they're too important, or they just don't realize that making friends in this type of industry is probably what's best for business.
So they're thinking like WWE didn't have to make friends, so we can do whatever we want too. We're just like WWE, because that's the image they try to give off under Jeff Jarrett. I think it's Jeff Jarrett.
And I think, a little bit under this new era that we're entering with TNA. I mean, I don't know.
New era was copyrighted by WWE. Don't say that.
This modern era.
There we go. Actually, WWE isn't that too happy like TNA is, apparently.
WWE doesn't, unless they fought Ryback a little bit, but I don't think they're not worried about it too much, because they know their brand is the brand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're not going to come after some tiny little internet show.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Impact's burning all these bridges. I guess, do you want to talk about Impact now, or do you want to wait?
Oh, we can jump right into Impact, since, they're just doing weird things now.
They're a mess.
They're doing weird things, and it's funny because all the just all the articles that I've read about TNA and all their pundits are saying how horrible that they're doing right now, the job that they're doing. With the opportunity that they had, being as they basically, they've rebranded themselves, and it should have given them a fresh start, which it did, but
they rebranded themselves as they were back in 2005.
Yeah, they had a chance to do something special, and it's just not working out. Much like my NCAA tournament bracket.
Oh yeah, I've been reading your Facebook posts about that.
Notre Dame's about to screw me over right now, but that's neither here nor there. Impact.
You know who's gonna screw me? Who's screwing over the Nashville area? Impact. And they did that a while ago though when they moved to Orlando. But anyway, dude, there's an Impact show, well, a Global Force show that's going on tonight. And I wish I could go to it, but because it will be interesting to see. It's like St. Patrick's Day Massacre or something. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's a Global Force wrestling show that's going on tonight, and it's Jeff Jarrett. Laurel Van Ness is going to be there. I think Eddie Edwards is going to be there. I don't know. Me and Laurel Van Ness, we were tweeting about it to each other. Follow me on Twitter. This guy 1818. I'm pretty sure that's not my Twitter. I think I just made that up. But me and her have been tweeting back and forth at each other. I mean, mostly it's me tweeting at her and her ignoring me, but that's how it is. But it's going to be Laurel Van Ness and Eddie Edwards and Jeff Jarrett, all the people you know. And then who else is going to be there tonight? Jeff Hardy. So I don't know how the show is going to go. But it's here in Nashville tonight, and I wish I could go, but I've got a bunch of other stuff to do because St. Patrick's Day and because my friends are stupid and can't figure out how to budget time properly. But, excuse me. But anyway, so Impact is, oh my gosh, it's interesting. One of the things that stood out to me, though, is they said that Alberto El Patron had to give back his belt, and they had an office segment. And the office segment, it seems like they were trying to do something like they did with the AJ Styles segment at the end of Raw last week, where he came into Gorilla to like mess with Shane. So it feels like they're trying to copy what they did. Not like getting angry, because Alberto El Patron is not an angry man. So it was interesting. But I love that he calls him Booby Lashley.
I know. That is pure greatness. Booby.
But they said the matchmakers, the bookers, they said they don't have the ability to make matches. Then what is their job? Because they are matchmakers.
I guess their job is to just sit there and chill.
Does it mean?
I don't know how a matchmaker can't make a match. That's just like a referee not being able to ref. I don't understand. Bad analogy, but we'll roll with it.
It's exactly what that is. It's like having a president who says, "Oh, I can't do anything like that. I'm just going to sit on Twitter all day."
Wait, what?
Don't worry about that. Or like if Dana White said his matchmakers couldn't make matches at the UFC, and they said the fighters had to go make their matches. What is that? That's crazy. I mean, we see that going on with Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, because they're making their own match, but normally that's not a thing. Yeah, matchmakers are the one that make the matches.
Yeah, that usually only happens in boxing, where there's no big overseeing. Really, there's no organization doing this. You have organizational titles, but everybody just basically fights who they want to, with the exception of like a rare mandatory match, which even that sometimes doesn't even work out.
Well, I mean, you've got the IBF, you've got Golden Boy. If you want a match between somebody at Golden Boy and somebody that's in IBF, then yes, that's how that happens. But if they're like within their own brand,
right,
then you have matchmakers. So it would make sense if it was like the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega Bullet Club wanting to make a match against, let's say, the New Day, which is what we've seen a little bit going on. So Elite versus New Day, they would have to make that match because New Japan and WWE aren't the same company. And then eventually the two companies would have to like agree on it. But this is within their own company. Their matchmakers saying they don't have the ability to make matches. That's stupid. And it makes no sense.
It's Impact Wrestling. It's an Impact Wrestling thing. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just it. It's an Impact Wrestling thing. You can't really talk logic because there's none there.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I don't know. I'm slowly getting. I don't know. There used to be a wrestling promotion called Wrestling Society X, and it was just chaos, and there was nothing about it. I mean, it had some big names. Pitbull was a commentator, which is interesting. But you had Colt Cabana, you had Psychosis, you had a bunch of big names in it, but it was chaos. And this feels like Wrestling Society X was. And I don't know. It feels like you've got old guard people that are wanting to keep it the way it was, like EC3, Ethan Carter III, for the people that don't watch Impact. Because he's been there a long time, and he made sure not to step on the Impact logo when he came down, because now they've got an Impact logo on the ground, on their ramp, which I don't think they had before, because I think before it was just like lights. This is like a sticker. So he avoids stepping on that. And what they did was they had a match between EC3 and Alberto El Patron. And one of the things that EC3 is like, they tout about him occasionally, is that he's never tapped. And El Patron made him tap. Yeah.
Inches away from the rope.
True. Like he probably could have broken it. If he had good ring awareness. But the thing is, what they did was it was EC3 versus El Patron for the chance to take on Lashley for the belt. So we saw El Patron. He is dominant, and it's crazy. But it's crazy they made him vacate the title, because when has anybody ever had to vacate the title because they hit somebody with the belt, and the ref didn't see it? When has that ever happened?
Exactly. It doesn't. That's last week. That's what I was hitting on. You know, that little after Impact segment where the main owner guy, whose name I don't recall, was basically telling him, you know, you need to relinquish your title because you cheated. I'm like, that doesn't happen. That's just part of wrestling. That's part of what happens in wrestling. The heel sometimes cheats to get what he wants or she wants, and that was no different here. So that's setting a precedent. You know, that's setting a precedent. Like, what happens from now on in TN or Impact Wrestling if someone cheats to win a title? Are they going to have to relinquish their belt?
They better.
Does everything have to be a clean win for it to count, so to say? I mean, it's crazy. I don't understand the logic.
That's true. I mean, I wouldn't mind that if everything had to be a clean win, but this is kind of a weird way to implement that.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the thing that you're wanting to do, that's fine. But as long as you stay consistent throughout throughout the entirety of this rendition of the company, that's a necessity. You can't do this once and then like 2 weeks from now someone else does it and you just kind of ignore it.
Yeah, like what's going on in their tag division. So the belt had to be relinquished in the tag division as well. And we all know why. I mean, we were just talking about why. And they're trying to figure out how Decay has the tag of it, that tag belt, and they're treating it like, oh, they just have it, so they've got to defend it. There's no reason for it. I mean, they said that there's going to be a tournament because their belts aren't defended in space, in time, or on the internet. So they're calling out all the other promotions, like saying because there's two promotions that defend their belts on the internet. You've got WCPW and you've got the Intergalactic Champion or something, which several indie promotions have people that wind up carrying this belt for a little bit. I think even the Miracle held it for a couple days until it was taken from him by like Joey Ryan or something. So they're calling out, this is them burning other bridges because they're calling out other promotions for the way that they present their product, because they don't have the kind of money that Dixie Carter had, or they don't have the kind of money that Anthem has. I mean, it feels like they're picking on little guys now. When they're trying to pick on big guys, they're trying to pick on little guys. They're calling out everybody. They're burning more bridges. But yeah, it's ridiculous that they're doing this. But now Decay has the belt, and Decay's going to defend it and all this stuff. They're going to have like a tournament to get to whoever's going to be the tag team champion. And you noticed a few things that I had written down too. But you noticed a few new, well, I don't know if we call them new faces, but a few faces.
A few new old faces making their way back to Impact Wrestling. I mean, this week we saw LAX make their return. I mean, you're talking Hernandez, Conan, and the crew.
Yeah.
And was Homicide in there?
I'm not sure.
I feel like Homicide might have been. I feel like Homicide was there too.
Yeah.
I mean, so you've got LAX back, which don't get me wrong, I have no issue with LAX, but it's just kind of weird that, no, I'm not gonna say weird. It's just kind of interesting that they decided to bring back some of these, I'm gonna call them old new faces, which, I mean, that may help their tag team division. We saw what Homicide did, coming in and taking out Decay, and we also saw Suicide make his in-ring re-debut.
Yeah, first time in 8 years he's been in TNA.
First time in 8 years. And
I thought the Pope retired him.
Retire is, in the eyes of the beholder, I guess. I don't know.
I guess so. Man.
But I mean, and this Suicide looks a little bit bigger. But
yeah, it does.
It's to say the least, it's just interesting. I'm curious to see who else they may bring back from the old era of TNA to this modern era of Impact Wrestling.
I have a feeling we're going to see a bunch of old faces, because that's kind of how they operated when they were under Jeff Jarrett the first time. That's why we had Sting being pushed. That's why we had Mick Foley getting pushed. That's why we had insert name of anybody who was around during the Attitude Era that they happened to pick up being pushed, versus their younger guys like EC3 or like AJ Styles or Samoa Joe or any of those other guys that are now big names on their own right. That's why they didn't get pushed when they were in TNA, and whenever they would go to ROH for something or just any other random promotion, they'd get pushed to the moon for the couple of days that they were there, and then they'd show back up at TNA and they'd get buried again under a Scott Steiner or a Jeff Jarrett or anybody like that. So I have a feeling that that's Jeff Jarrett's MO, and we're going to see these old guys that were there before. Because now they're old enough to be pushed, I guess, is the way Jeff Jarrett sees it. I don't know. But I have a feeling it's going to be a lot more of that.
Which is unfortunate. Well, not necessarily unfortunate depending on the person, but as long as, these younger superstars don't get buried. Like, EC3 has fallen a little bit more than I would like, because when EC3 was at the top of TNA, he was probably one of the best heel champions that I've seen, regardless of where you go, because he played that role really well.
Yeah, that was after Jarrett had left, when Dixie had all of the controlling power, and now that she's gone, and now that he's back, EC3 might be old enough for Jeff Jarrett to want to push now. I don't know.
I hope so.
It's I don't know. I have a feeling it's Jeff Jarrett's thinking, well, these people that are younger haven't been around long enough to get their they haven't taken their knocks yet, so they need to be beat down for a few years, and then we'll start pushing them. And that's kind of what they did with AJ Styles when he was with TNA. That's kind of why he left and went to New Japan. That's what they did when they had Samoa Joe, and then Samoa Joe got started getting pushed after a while. But it's like they won't push you until you've been on for a while. I mean, I have a feeling if Alberto El Patron had not been on WWE for as long as he had, and he was just like at CMLL or AAA, then they wouldn't have pushed him like they're doing right now. So I don't know. But another person, like I said, El Patron, he's on a golden rocket to space right now. That's all this is. But something I'm surprised they haven't started trying to bury is this Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes feud that they've got going on. Trying to make a love triangle with somebody who's not there is weird. Did you see any of what went on?
Yeah, I mean, Cody coming out and basically saying, hey, this match ain't happening, Brandy. I'm sorry, this ain't your time. Even though it was really funny him giving her opponent $45 and saying it's 20 more than what they would have paid you.
That's probably true.
It's so true. I was like, Cody Rhodes, he speaks the truth. But yeah, just Cody trying to carry this angle on by himself just makes it really weird, because now it makes him look like the boyfriend who just won't get over it, even though dude's long gone.
Yeah.
I mean, dude's in Japan. Moose is in Japan, and he
is literally over 2,000 miles away.
Yeah, and he's still kind of pandering about saying, Moose, I ain't taking your shit. When you get back over
wasn't
here.
even doing anything.
Yeah, Moose is like, what the fuck, bruh?
We all know that guy, though.
But,
everybody knows that guy.
Everybody knows that guy. And he's like, and when you get back, it's going to be for the Grand Championship. I can't think of what it's actually called. But it's going to be for the Grand Championship, and it's what's going to happen. And Moose is just kind of over here. He might hear about this news like 3 days from now, but Moose is just minding his own business.
He's probably seeing this like tweeted out there. He's like seeing Otongwo Moose, I'm gonna get you. I'm surprised we're not seeing Cody Rhodes tweeting at him stuff like that.
I'm gonna get you, boy. But I don't know. Like you said, it makes the dynamic of the angle really weird, because you've only got one side right now, and Moose is not available to help out, so to say.
Yeah, Moose is up in Noah right now, trying to put on a good show at Noah, trying to show him that not all gaijins are bad. I mean, I'm sure they don't think that, but maybe they do. I don't know. I've not watched Noah. I've only watched New Japan and All Japan, and Stardom recently. But I don't know. He's over there trying to do his job. And Cody Rhodes is like, nope. You can't do your job, and you can't do your job and help my wife at the same time.
Basically.
And Cody Rhodes also said they're not going to cash in on the Rhodes name anymore. So I wonder if that means that if that's alluding to once that contract's up, both of them are gone.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he needs TNA or Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just touring in general, just touring the indie scene. He's probably making a hell of a lot more than what he's making at TNA. So
probably. I mean, I'm sure Ring of Honor's giving him more than than what TNA is giving him per show.
Yeah, because I mean he's seemed more of a staple of ROH right now than he is of Impact. But
I mean, he's more of an in-ring competitor at ROH. At Impact, he's just a whiny tool.
he's that guy.
Yeah,
That's
he's
all
that
he's
guy.
that guy.
It's unfortunate. This booking is weird. That's all I gotta say. TNA's booking was weird, but I could get behind it. Impact by Anthem's booking is not something I can get behind.
At least not right now in these early stages. They've not done anything to show me they actually know what they're doing.
Yeah. The only thing that they've done the only thing that I can even think of that they've really done is continued a storyline that should have ended like 3 weeks ago on the last episode of TNA Impact. They've continued this storyline with Laurel Van Ness showing up at ringside in this beat up wedding dress.
Yeah.
And I feel bad. And at the Global Force Wrestling show that's tonight in Nashville, Tennessee, greatest city on earth, she's not competing as Laurel Van Ness, she's competing as Chelsea Green, which I think is her actual name. And everybody's tweeting at her, I'm glad they're letting you do this and not that, and you look better than in your regular ring attire than that stupid wedding dress and this stupid Impact stuff that they've got going on. And I have a feeling Jeff Jarrett is seeing these because they're both on the same show. And I hope that him seeing all those tweets about how bad that angle is, I hope they do something better with her. But that pretty much exemplifies what is going on in Impact right now. Is they are a beat up wedding dress and a bottle of champagne compared to what they were, and running mascara compared to what they were when they were TNA. And I know this started as a TNA thing. Well, it was on the last episode of TNA Impact, but I guess it would have been maybe 3 episodes, one taping after they'd been purchased. So it could be this is a Impact by Anthem storyline, but it's just, there's no way to continue this without all the people that left as a result of this stuff. So that's what they are. They're this running mascara, beat up wedding dress, and a bottle of champagne, versus what they used to be, which was Delete and Final Deletion and
all the Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy.
All the Matt Hardy stuff.
Yeah, it's slowly becoming a shell. It was already before Anthem took over. I could arguably say that TNA was having some of their best stuff in a long time.
Yeah, in that year before it took over.
Yeah, they were opening up. They were doing some new things, and these new things were working.
Yeah.
And then you have Anthem just kind of step in, kick the door down, and with a gang of I don't know where I was going with that. But
kick the door down with their gang of old people.
With their gang of old people with revolvers or whatever they used back in the old days.
Rocks. Slingshots.
And just kind of slingshots. And just kind of took over, and we're seeing the ship beginning to sink again.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I can give props to TNA or Impact Wrestling right now is bringing in Alberto El Patron, because his character, I like it. I mean, it's Alberto, and
it's the same character he was in WWE.
Exactly.
Same character he was in AAA and CMLL also. So I mean,
I like it. I thought the El Patron EC3 match was pretty decent. And that's about the only thing that they've got going for them right now. I wouldn't mind him holding the title, even though he won it and got stripped for cheating, which just doesn't happen. But that's about the only thing I could give props for. I mean, even bringing in an outdated LAX even though I like LAX, it's not going to bring in more viewers.
Yeah.
It might bring in a few that watched it back in the day, but most of the people watching TNA right now, I would argue, may not even know who LAX is.
Yeah, most of them are watching because they started watching because they heard the Hardy stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, a handful of people maybe started watching because of Sammy and Dandow. That's what they should have called him, Sammy and Dandow, not Aaron Rex. But like a handful of people might start watching that, and a handful of people might start watching because Cody Rhodes is on there. But Cody Rhodes, they're treating him like poop. Aaron Rex, he's booked well, but they don't book him for very much. And when he is booked, he's come out and been kind of goofy. And yeah, he was goofy in WWE, but not the same way that he is being booked now. But like, I don't know. I don't know. It feels like they're doing stuff that is counterintuitive to what you think they should be doing.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to figure something out, or else this ship is going to take on water.
It's already doing that.
Yeah, a lot faster than what it was originally.
Yeah, very true. I mean, nothing against Jeff Jarrett. He's a good in-ring worker, but I don't think he's got the business acumen that they need for what they're trying to do.
Well, I mean, he's an old school wrestler. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was around during the pre-Attitude Era days, and some in the Attitude Era days where he was long blonde-haired guy rolling around with a guitar with Deborah at his side. He's probably still got a lot of that in him. He's probably thinking a lot about how the business was back then and trying to bring it back to now, and it's a new day.
Yes, it is.
No pun intended. But it's a new day, and wrestling fans today, ice cream. Anyways, wrestling fans today, they just don't look for the same things that we did back when we were in elementary and middle school, watching wrestling. It's completely different. The internet has changed the wrestling business altogether. I mean, we on this show talk about things that we know that's going to happen because of what the internet has told us.
Yep.
Like, just to jump ahead for just a quick second, the mixed tag match that's going to take place at WrestleMania. We knew that in February. We were just trying to figure out how they were going to get here.
Yeah.
And, all this stuff. So the internet within itself has changed the way that wrestling is perceived and obviously how it's consumed. And Jeff Jarrett just needs to kind of jump on board if he's wanting to be in the business in that way.
I mean, he sounds like the way they describe him is the way they describe when kind of the way I think that they want to describe Vince McMahon when he, because they'll say Vince McMahon will say stuff like, "Oh, Roman Reigns is so bad, I don't like him," and then a couple days later, like, Roman Reigns is just like what we need, just like what we had back in the 70s or the 80s or all this stuff. And Jeff Jarrett sounds like he is exactly like that, not lucid Vince McMahon, all of the times, versus just sometime like Vince McMahon is. It's like they want to go back to something that there's no way to go back to, just because the way that we were there once, and there's a reason why we've moved away from that.
Right.
Like, what was that era? Not the it was not the new era, because the new era is now, but it was the new something. I feel like it was like the new era or the original new era or something. But that's like the time that they want to go back to. Late 80s, early 90s, right before the Attitude Era started.
The Golden Era? Is that what you're talking about? No, that was
Golden Era is before that.
Yeah, that was before that.
Yeah, because I think you had the Golden Era, then you had the Cartoon Era, and then you had the era I'm talking about, which is kind of which is when Jarrett was mostly active. And I feel like that's what he wants to go back to, right before the Attitude Era started, or early into the Attitude Era. So I don't know. It feels like it's not where they need to go. They need to go towards the same thing. And I hate saying this. They need to go towards the same thing that WWE is doing, but they need to go have that same mindset, because most of the companies have that same mindset now. Is they are maybe they need to do something that's like Ring of Honor. I mean, or an ICW or CZW. Both ICW and CZW have some goofy stuff going on in them, but they are on the same level as Ring of Honor in the way that they book, the way they do everything, and they're pushing younger talent. They have their stars, but they also push the smaller guys as well, just like WWE is doing too. They push their mid card, they push their everything, and TNA feels like it's not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to push your. If you only push your top stars, then you're going to get what we had when TNA was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to push your mid carders, your upper mid carders. You even got to use your lower card wrestlers to an extent, just to prove their relevancy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. Jeff Jarrett just needs to, if he's going to play a role in TNA and he doesn't want it to die, he just needs to jump on board. And like you said, you don't have to copy WWE or ROH, down to a T, but there's nothing wrong to looking at other successful businesses and seeing kind of what they're doing right.
Nope, can't do that. Nope,
And
can't do that.
You can. I'm telling you. I've seen it. It's true. It's damn true. But
WWE did it to them.
I mean, there's nothing wrong to looking and see what other people are doing and kind of putting your own little twist on it and making it work. I mean, but if you want to be stubborn and hard-headed and not adapt to your surroundings, to your environment, then you can just go die.
Well, that's mean.
That's
mean.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, this has become the TNA show, apparently, or the TNA to Impact transition show. So maybe we should transition away from that. Speaking of people dying, you want to talk about SmackDown?
We could talk about SmackDown right after we talk about Audible.
Okay. I see what you did there.
See what I'm doing?
I see what you did there. Anyway, so Audible.com is a online service that is great for both you and me and you and all of the things. And I should probably go on Audible.com and find a book about grammar, because they have those. What Audible.com is a online service where you can listen to some of the greatest books ever written, and some not so great books too. But because they've got books, it's a book listening to website, and you can download the app, do all that stuff. And if you like books, go down to our description and find the Audible link in the description, and you can get 2 free books and 30 day free trial and 2 free books for your troubles. And if I were going to pick a book for you today to check out, I would probably pick The Man in the High Castle. This is the book that the #1 drama on Amazon Prime Video is based on. It's the book of what if the Nazis had won World War II. Basically, it's America in 1962. Slavery is legal once again, and the few Jews who still survive hide under assumed names in San Francisco. The I Ching is as common as the Yellow Pages, and all because some 20 years earlier the United States lost a war. This is now occupied by Nazi Germany and Japan. This harrowing Hugo Award-winning novel is the work that established Philip K. Dick as an innovator in science fiction while breaking the barrier between science fiction and serious novel of ideas. In it, Dick offers a haunting vision of history as a nightmare from which it may just be possible to awake. Check it out on audible.com. So, Ron Cloud, have you read that book?
I have not.
Oh,
but
have you seen the show?
Interesting. So
it is a good.
watch the show, because
it's a good show. exactly. But you know what I watched though on Tuesday?
I can't. I don't have the slightest idea.
I watched a little dog giving people high fives. It's pretty cool.
It was awesome. I saw that too.
Yeah, it allowed me to not go crazy at work. If you want to know about this, follow me on YouTube at blah, 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 blah. No, I don't actually have a vlog. I'm working on it, though. But what I actually watched was SmackDown. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Dickens.
Yes. First thing I noticed about SmackDown, though, was where was Mauro Ranallo?
That's a good question. He was on 205 Live, I'm pretty sure.
Where was all of the 17 or so people that are normally on there? Maybe they took to heart what they said on TNA and said, we're not going to have like 17 people on commentary last week. Maybe they took that to heart, so they got rid of Ranallo on SmackDown. I don't know.
That'd be unfortunate. I like Ranallo.
He is good, but
he's also good when he commentates boxing. But
he's good when he commentates anything. But I think I would prefer him on like a 205 Live or just because there's so many people on. If it was just Ranallo and like a Daniel Bryan doing SmackDown, that'd be great. Or just a Ranallo and JBL or somebody. But anyway. What did you think about AJ Styles' heel promo that he did?
I mean, AJ Styles, I'm biased, but that heel promo I feel like was on point. I mean, we kind of,
It didn't feel like a heel promo. It felt like a face promo.
Yeah, it did. But at the same time, the way, kind of like how I've been talking about before, the way they build this match against Shane McMahon and AJ Styles has kind of made him feel kind of like the crybaby guy, you know?
Yeah. That's normally a face thing.
True, but I mean, regardless of face, heel, or whatever, he still hit that promo dead on. I mean, it does to an extent make you feel sorry for AJ Styles because he keeps getting the proverbial rug pulled out from underneath him. But yeah, I was more excited about what happened after that.
Oh, the commercial for
Yep.
I assumed you were talking about the commercial for Mr. Clean, but I mean, I know how you like to look at his amazing clean white clothes and his big old ghetto booty. I know what you're into. But yeah, him wandering around looking for a fight. AJ was looking for a fight. I don't know, like everything that he said in his promo though was true. Like he was saying he got screwed over, and normally when you have like a heel saying this stuff, he's saying it even though it's not true. Like he's trying to get the crowd behind him and making up stories to get the crowd to agree with him, even though you know they're not going to agree with him because it's not true. But everything AJ was saying was true. It's like he was pointing out that everything, I don't know, is like the last what is that called? The last election cycle. Maybe you shouldn't say that because that's bad. It was like everything that he does, no matter what he says, the crowd is still going to pop for him, and especially if he's saying stuff that is true, and like it doesn't make any sense why what would happen later why that would happen versus somebody else burning down a house and not getting any trouble.
So true. Because arson is apparently highly regarded these days.
I should start doing it. Maybe I'll become famous.
Probably not in the way that you would want to be.
I mean, I'll become a champion if I do it.
Oh, yeah, true. You'll get a title shot at least.
Yep.
At least.
I don't know who I'll challenge for their title, but I'll challenge anybody.
But I feel
Putin.
like the what?
Take on Putin. Take his title.
I mean, that would probably put you on par with Putin, I guess. I don't know.
I'm sure he's got a title.
But the whole backstage assault that AJ put on Shane McMahon just kind of stole the show for me.
Oh, yeah.
And we've kind of talked about it several times on this show. The increased violence just kind of tells the story a little bit better. The fact that he threw Shane McMahon through a freaking window.
Shane McMahon likes to go through glass.
Shane McMahon, I think he's a masochist. He likes torture because he puts his body through so much.
I mean, when he fought Kurt Angle a few years ago, the thing, like, their finish was Kurt Angle was going to throw him through some glass, and he didn't go through the glass the first time. So he said, do it again.
Do it again.
So he threw him again. Like, it took 3 times before he went through the glass.
This glass must break.
I have a feeling he was supposed to go through the first car window.
He probably
and he didn't.
was.
And he was like, do it again. So they took him to the second car window, and he smashed him against that one. Man.
He's laying in the car smiling like, yeah.
Got glass on my face. My head's bleeding. We're perfect.
But, I mean, that stole the show for me. It's still kind of, for me personally, it still kind of sucks that AJ is being billed as the heel here. Because, I don't know. Like I said before, the Vince McMahon Stone Cold thing was great because
that's what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, it was great because Stone Cold was we saw him as us sticking it to the boss, you know. And in this case, who do we can associate with AJ Styles, but AJ Styles is going about it the wrong way of getting to get what he wants instead of, you know, he's assaulting his boss because he's not getting what he wants. And
Stone Cold did that too, but
he did. But I mean, Vince was a douche. Shane McMahon has kind of been the boss everybody wants, so to say, at this point on SmackDown, because he's giving the fans whatever they want, and now he doesn't give AJ what he wants, so he gets assaulted. So who do we I guess picture ourselves as in this situation?
Yeah, like, it feels like they want us to cheer for Shane McMahon, but they know that nobody's going to cheer for Shane over AJ.
Yeah.
So it's like they've written themselves into a corner here. They don't know, like, it doesn't make any sense. And then afterward, they fired AJ Styles. He is now an alumni. So that means he is now eligible to be brought into the Hall of Fame. That's what they're going to do. They're going to bring him into the Hall of Fame. That's book it. Put a pin in it. That's what's happening. AJ Styles, Hall of Fame, before Andy Kaufman. That makes no sense. I don't know. I've gotten in a little bit of a Twitter storm when I typed in Andy Kaufman should go into the Hall of Fame, and I've got people liking it like crazy. Also, I got followed by WWE. I don't know if I told you. I don't know if that happened last week or before, but I got followed by WWE on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, you told me that.
It's weird. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. And then they fired AJ. So what does this do? Are they going to have to rehire him for the match? Is he done here for a minute? I don't know, but I've got a few things about rumors we can talk about later.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I could see them doing something that I don't necessarily agree with, as far as like possibly making a stipulation on the WrestleMania match for his job or something crazy like that. But
yeah,
but if that doesn't happen, I'm not sure. I mean, unless they just kind of back off of it and, you know, hire him back, so to say.
Okay, you're not fired anymore. I lost my temper. You called me out about kettle chips, so I got angry. You want some kettle chips? That's probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know. Did you check out the Miz TV this week?
Yeah, I mean,
I thought that was done, Miz TV. Whatever.
you thought Miss TV was done,
Yeah. I think Daniel Bryan thought it was done too.
but I mean, it served its purpose. It set up, like I said before, it set up a match that we knew was coming as far as the mixed tag, you know, the
Yeah.
mixed tag match at WrestleMania. But you know, it was Miz TV.
Yeah. It really felt like I don't know. SmackDown's really good at this, doing this like worked shoot interviews. The writers on SmackDown are really good at that, and I feel like that's what this was a worked shoot, where some of that stuff actually went on, and there's some kind of truth to this, but it's being played as part of the show. And I have a feeling Daniel Bryan really likes John Cena. That's what this makes it seem like, that him and John Cena are like best buds. They probably sit at their mansion, the Bella mansion that they go and hang out at. They probably sit there and play video games and argue about whose lifestyle is better, vegetarian or only meatitarian.
Only meatitarian.
Yeah. And that's John Cena's lifestyle. He's a meatitarian. He doesn't eat anything but meat. But I have a feeling they have that whole thing going on. One of the other things I noticed is they've talked a lot about Kelly Kelly in the past, like, couple weeks. So does that mean Kelly Kelly's going to be in this women's match that's going to be coming up at WrestleMania?
I mean, it's very possible. Like I said, that was one of the rumors I had heard, a while back about, Kelly Kelly and possibly Victoria making their re-debuts in the WWE. And I guess it was during college when Kelly Kelly was more of a, prominent as an in-ring competitor. So I didn't really get a chance to see her back then.
What you mean? I remember you watching wrestling all the days. All of the days.
It was, it was hit and miss. So
it was wrestling and the game.
The game was amazing. But
I'll
save that for another
Rock
time.
Band.
And you forgot George Lopez.
Yeah.
But so I didn't really get to see Kelly Kelly as an in-ring competitor. So she could have been great. She could have been terrible. I don't know. I can't make that judgment call. But it definitely doesn't hurt if she does come back for the women's division. As we'll talk about probably later, the women's division on SmackDown needs a little bit of help. So
that's true.
If they bring her back,
I don't know.
Yeah, if they bring her back, then I have no quarrels with it.
I feel you. I understand. Speaking of heels, speaking of all the things, did you notice that the heel locker room told AJ he went too far?
Really?
Yeah, did you not see that?
I did not see that part. Or if I did, I don't remember it. I don't know. It was really early in the morning.
It was when, right before he got fired, they, you might want to move this to that section. But right before he got fired, he was in the heel locker room, and the Usos and somebody else, I don't remember who else it was, but the Usos were like, no, you just can't do that to the boss, man. You can't do that to the boss, man. And then he walked out and then ran into Daniel Bryan, who fired him. But it's so weird that the heels were even telling him he shouldn't be doing stuff like that. But juxtapose that against, like, Baron Corbin, who almost crushed a man to death. I'm so confused by this weird double standard they're applying to people. Like AJ Styles, it's like this is the stuff they do to a face who starts doing heel things, but they've booked him as a heel the entire time. It's like if he had been a face and they were doing this to him after he did something like that, then it would make sense. But they're trying to book him as a heel. So they've got a face or a heel doing face thing, like being written as a face who's gone crazy. And then they've got a heel or a face who is doing heel stuff, which he should be getting heat for, but he's not. Like Randy Orton. So I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
so confused. You might want to move that section to right before I said anything about the Miz.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah. Other weird things that were on this episode. So you had the women's match. You had JBL talking, and JBL said something that surprised me. WWE likes to act like they don't, like the only titles that matter are the title reigns under their tutelage, and they don't talk about the other ones. And then JBL said, greatest person ever, the Great Moolah, had a whole bunch of title runs, and some of them aren't recognized by the WWE, which the fact that they recognize that they don't recognize other companies' title reigns, that stood out to me as something that a new thing for the WWE to recognize. Do you recognize?
I do recognize. It's all about that self-awareness. But yeah, I can see it becoming a thing. I'm not sure if it's something that will help or hurt them by any means, but it definitely helps if when you're talking about if you're describing a wrestler, let's say like throw it out there, Samoa Joe, who's had titles everywhere.
Yeah.
If you start recognizing that he's been a title holder elsewhere, that might help build his profile per se. But it's interesting that they had JBL do it.
Yeah, that's true. Because JBL's like the biggest shill for them ever. Like that's kind of his shtick. Is he's the shill for the WWE. Which I mean, he's good at it. So, I also noticed that JBL likes to buy his friends because he doesn't have any friends. But anyway, Baron Corbin. I don't understand what's going on with Baron Corbin. I feel like I'm jumping around too much and not like leaving a steady flow of things. Is that right?
Let's see. Well, we could probably transition over to the women's division since that's kind of what led us here.
Okay. Then I'll go back to Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
Okay. How about, since I said, I don't understand what's going on with Baron Corbin, you say, well, I know what's going on with the women's division.
Okay.
Well, not really. Okay. So, Baron Corbin, I don't understand what's going on with Baron Corbin. Maybe I'm just too stream of thought in this, though.
I don't know what's going on with Baron Corbin, but one thing that I do know about is the women's division and the fact that, yeah, there's not really much going on there. I mean,
that was a poor attempt at a transition, Ryan Cloud.
Don't question me. I do my thing. But I mean, the women's division is kind of, I don't know, with Alexa Bliss as champion, it just doesn't feel like there's much going on there as far as, we know that Alexa Bliss is going to be defending her title against the entire women's the entire SmackDown women's division. But since that, I mean, you have Becky Lynch battling Natalya. You had
that was a good match. Didn't feel like it had any stakes.
Exactly. It was a good match, but from a storyline standpoint, it didn't really do much for us. I mean, you had Carmella, kind of forcing her way in, interjecting herself into all of this, and you had Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, which honestly could have worked just as well. Them two together as a storyline would have worked well.
Yeah, they're trying to do the Jericho storyline again, but in the women's division.
Yeah, but
it's weird.
They're doing it as like a side note to this whole overall idea that everybody's going to be battling for a title at WrestleMania. Which, I mean, if they did that as their own storyline for the women's title, that would be great. That would be good. But it's kind of a subplot at this point.
Yeah, like I said, the Raw upper card, how the stories were all intertwining was great. All the women's division stories intertwining on SmackDown feels overcomplicated.
Yeah. I mean, there's really there's not a lot of build going on here. I mean, you have like I said, you have the Alexa and Mickey thing. I don't know if it's at the forefront, kind of at the forefront. I don't know.
It's trying to be.
And then you kind of just have these subplots around it, and they're just kind of hoping that it all comes together at WrestleMania to this women's title match, and I just don't see it. And
yeah, no.
It's not. I don't know. It's not working for me. It almost makes it feel like even if the matches are good, the story behind the matches is boring.
Yeah, like all the matches, all of the women on the SmackDown women's division, with the exception of Alexa Bliss, are really, really technically good wrestlers. And nothing against Alexa Bliss, she's just not as technically good as the rest of them. She's good in the ring, she's just not as good as like a Mickie James or a Becky Lynch or a Natalya. But those three women are on another level compared to the rest of the roster. But I don't know, on Talking Smack, the way they sat them on the set, like at the table, it seemed like they put all of the faces on the right and all of the heels on the left, and you had Natalya, Becky, and Mickey on the right. So it seemed like those are the faces, but Natalya, it seems like Natalya as a face seems weird, and Mickey as a face seems weird, but they both seem like they were on the face side, and Alexa and Carmella on the left-hand side were the heel side. And that's what it felt like. And it just seems like it's getting catty, but not catty like it was during the Attitude Era versus them actually trying to win something like they had been up until this brand split, or up until like a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what's going on there. But it seems like it's getting catty like it had been in the late 90s.
Right.
Before the women's revolution happened. And maybe this is because Mickie James is on there and she doesn't respect the women's revolution and all this stuff. But I don't know. Another thing that's weird, though, is on these Women's Month vignettes they keep doing, they have Becky Lynch on there talking, and the whole thing is that Becky, like the whole reason why they wanted to have this with the storyline is that Becky Lynch doesn't respect the past, even though she says she does, but it would have helped her character to not include her on those, in my opinion. And maybe that's just me overthinking it, though.
Right, but I guess at the same time, you could kind of be billing it as all of this is in Mickie James's head because she's crazy type of deal. But
that's true. She is crazy. That was how she was booked previously. So
yeah, so I guess they could be it could be as a situation where Mickey's just delusional and believes that Becky doesn't respect the past instead of Becky actually not respecting the past. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. You better get what I'm saying. You don't respect me. We're going to have a title match.
You got to go burn down the house first, then you can get it.
Well, I've already taken Putin's title. I did that when I went to the bathroom just now.
Oh.
Yeah, he was there.
Putin was in the bathroom?
He was there. Don't worry about it. I took it from him.
Did you take it or did you steal it?
Hey.
Crime time.
I mean, I'm like the Hardys. I took Putin's super kick title. But yeah, so I don't know. There's just not enough. It feels like there is too much going on in the women's division, but that there's also not enough going on in the women's division at the same time.
Exactly. Oh no, it's just it's a weird little situation. A lot like Baron Corbin.
Yeah, very much like Baron Corbin. He is a weird. I don't know if I call him a little situation. He doesn't look very much like the situation either. The Daivari kind of does. I'm surprised Daivari was back. But anyway, I'm surprised they built him as Daivari. But anyway, Baron Corbin, did you notice they interviewed him in front of a forklift? Is that going to be his gimmick now? He's going to be like the forklift man?
I guess so. I guess he's just going to be that guy who destroys people with a forklift.
He's gonna like ride a forklift to the ring for WrestleMania or something. Kind of like Rusev and his tank.
It's gonna be just chilling in a forklift, just driving it to the ring. Like, yeah, remember that time I about killed you with a forklift?
And get sponsored by Cat or Toyota or something.
Dean Ambrose is confused, like, dude, that was like a month ago. Why are you still on this? But he would have something weird and awkward to say. That's not really funny, but they're trying to make it sound like it's funny.
And like it would be a random NFL quote too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where this Baron Corbin story goes. I don't like where it's going. But anyway, you want to talk about the tag team division?
Not really.
Apparently WWE didn't want to either. When they were following Shane around the back area, the picture-in-picture for Shane was huge, and it was little tiny for the American Alpha match.
It definitely feels like the tag team division's a second thought at this point. I mean, that right there just epitomizes how they feel about their own tag team division when you can have this match between two teams that are supposed to be in this heated feud with each other, but we're going to blow up Shane McMahon and leave this match down here, and you could squint and maybe see it. But it's just a testament to how bad the tag team division is right now.
Yeah, I had to watch it on my phone, and the phone was like 75% Shane McMahon and like maybe 10% the match that was supposed to be going on.
I mean, it's American Alpha is a great, I'm not going to say great, it's a really good tag team, and I'm not going to say they deserve their titles, I guess you could say, based on what we have on SmackDown.
Yeah.
But I've kind of been surprised that their crossover with the main roster crowd hasn't been as great as I'm sure they had initially thought it would be.
Yeah.
I thought when they were called up, it was going to be, great, because in NXT they delivered. But I guess now their routine's getting a little stale because their matches are so scripted, so to say.
Their matches are very technically sound.
They're very technically sound.
That gets boring after a while. It's the reason why people don't necessarily like to follow. Like, they'll follow women's basketball, they'll follow WNBA because it's technically sound and it's nice to watch a game, but you're not going there. But like, people will go to an NBA game because people might do something stupid. Whereas at a women's game, they play the game. And that's what they do. And versus, like, you might see somebody get into a fist fight at an NBA game, but you're not going to see that at like a WNBA game. And that's like what the Raw SmackDown, the SmackDown tag division is they're going to wrestle, and it's going to be good, but it's not going to be anything that you're going to write home about.
Right.
And it just seems so generic. Like, since the American Alpha is their generic good wrestling guys, and the Usos are generic hip hop stereotype guys, and they've had that a lot. So this is just a rebrand. It's not even a rebranding. It's just a repackaging of the same story that we've seen over and over again in WWE, and it just doesn't feel like there's any kind of excitement here.
Yeah, it's definitely kickoff show material. I don't think we're going to see this on the main card when it comes to WrestleMania, just because it's just not clicking. I mean, the tag team division over there is just not clicking. They need a influx of new blood in that division. And I mean, it's weird we said that about the women's division, and we're saying about the tag team division. Overall, SmackDown's a great product. It's just those two divisions they just need a little something extra right now. And the tag team division needs a lot extra right now.
Yeah.
When you have American Alpha at the top, and I guess you would be forced by default to put the Usos second.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have the Vaudevillains, and you have Ascension, and you have Brizongo.
The Fashion Police.
I mean, it's weak. It's really crazy that how weak it is. I mean, at one point you had the Wyatts, but that's done.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I mean, I understand. So, I mean, I don't know. Speaking of the women's, speaking of the tag team, speaking of things that are kind of weak, I mean, did you watch any Talking Smack?
It comes on after my bedtime, yo.
I mean, everything's on after your bedtime, though.
I'm an old man. Can't help it.
Yeah.
27. Old man.
Go to bed at like 3 p.m. That's what you do. I understand. It's cool.
Gotta get my rest, bruh.
Go to bed at 3 p.m. Get up at 6 a.m. But dude, the Talking Smack segment was basically the women's, just basically trying to get the women's going, and I don't know. It was a schmoz, and I feel like that's going to be how things end up pretty soon. Make sure you follow Natty's cat though on Instagram. She shouted out her cat, which is funny.
Why not?
Yeah. So anyway, why not? Why not go to NXT? Did you see NXT?
I saw bits and pieces of NXT.
Well, what was I going to say? Oh, speaking of the tag division, NXT's tag division is so much more interesting than the SmackDown tag division. That's basically what I wrote. It's so much more interesting. You've got the Authors of Pain, and they fought the Ellering brothers, and the Authors of Pain are monstrous. This didn't really make them look, the Ellering brothers, look so bad. I mean, they are kind of getting buried, it feels like, but it didn't make them look so bad. But it made the Authors of Pain, it made them look ridiculously strong. And I don't know, it seems like they're telescoping something that's going to come up soon, which is like maybe a 3-way at the, not TakeOver, but the one after TakeOver. Maybe a 3-way with Authors of Pain and DIY and
the Revival.
Yeah, that's the one. If the Revival's still there, I have a feeling the Revival's going to be coming up sooner rather than later, and I think we'll cover that in the rumor section, though.
But I'm starting to. It sounds like you're starting to come around on the Authors of Pain a little bit.
No, I still don't like them, but it made them really look like monsters.
Yeah, that division is legit. With the 3 that's competing for, you know, the title, that division is legit. I don't have a problem with the Authors of Pain personally. They're still a little green on, you know, in ring wise, but
yeah,
I mean, it's your typical, you know, monster team. You know, they're not really there to necessarily be tacticians.
See, but they could be.
They could be.
They're like former champion MMA guys, not UFC, but like some second tier MMA company. So they could be.
Yeah, and but I mean, and you got DIY, which they're really, really good.
Yes.
You know, and of course you got the Revival, who,
I mean, both the Revival and DIY they're main tier ready.
Yeah.
The Authors of Pain, I feel like they need to be on NXT for a while.
Oh yeah, they don't need to go anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. And the Ellering brothers, I think it's not Ellering brothers because Paul Ellering is their manager. Let me figure out what I've been calling them wrong the past 2 weeks. AOP versus brothers. The Southern Reporter, brother versus brother. I'm not going to find out who their names are because I can't remember it. It doesn't really matter. So it's going to be, both of them need to be on NXT for a while, and DIY and the Revival are probably going to go up soon. That's where I'm saying. Yeah, but I liked what Asuka said in her what is that called? Vignette, where they had her going. She said there is no women's revolution. There is only Asuka. And I liked that. That was pretty cool. But did you see speaking of the women's title, did you see this Macy, this new girl that they had they brought out?
I don't remember that match, actually.
I mean, it wasn't very much of a match. It was kind of a squash, but she.
Okay, I think I do remember it with the not Daphne, with Crazy Lady.
Yeah, with Crazy
Nikki
Lady,
Cross, Nikki
Cross. Yeah, that was it. It felt like they were trying to, like, they hyped her up as this former Marine police officer, all this stuff, and they were saying all this like she's this, she's that, she's amazing, she's gonna be great, and then they had Nikki Cross come out and squash her. I don't know if it actually improves Nikki Cross all that much to say that she beat somebody that had all this lineage and stuff, because we haven't seen this person before. So having her just come out and squash her, even though they said she had all this stuff, I don't know how much it helps Nikki Cross, because it. Any thoughts on that?
It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really help. And as far as I guess building her resume, it doesn't help Nikki at all, in my opinion. I mean, you could say what you want to about a wrestler or anything, and unless you can provide, I guess, a track record, it doesn't really help much. Yeah. So outside of just, I guess, making Nikki look like a monster in general, just by, the squash match within itself, is a good thing. But I don't think
it wasn't even that good of a squash match.
I don't necessarily think it's going to improve her profile per se.
And if this girl Macy is actually at NXT as a trainee, I feel like it's going to hurt her when she actually becomes part of NXT's on-air roster versus just being another person at the school, because that'll always be there. And the only thing that it just feels like it's going to hurt her in the long run if she becomes a thing. I'm not saying she will be, but I'm saying if she does, it might hurt her. It might make her stock go down a little. But anyway, it's one of those things. And I mean, I could say, it's Ryan Cloud, the former heavyweight champion of Russia, the former dominator of the Soviet bloc, the former captain
of children.
He does that anyway. Former British Grand Champion, Prime Minister, Master, all this stuff. But if there's not anything around that helps with that, and then somebody comes and beats you. And it's like, I just beat another guy. He might say he has all this stuff, but I don't know about it. It's like that one dude that took the internet by storm a few years ago. There's all this fan art of him and all this stuff saying he was the greatest wrestler of all time, but there is all there is the stories that he's told that says that he's done this stuff, and there's nothing that backs it up. So I mean, it feels like what they were doing was trying to elevate somebody to be smushed, even though they it just didn't feel like they elevated her enough. If they were gonna make this seem like a squash match the way it was, and they were gonna build her up the way they built her up, they should have talked about her the episode before, and then talked about her again, and then squashed her. I know that's not how squash matches work, but the way they were billing her to be squashed they should have built it up some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about all I got to say about that.
So did you see Cassius Ohno versus Bobby Roode?
I did see Cassius Ohno versus Bobby Roode.
My hero.
Cassius Ohno?
Yeah, he's my hero.
Why is
He's
he your
everybody
hero?
else's hero, too.
Explain yourself.
He's Chris Hero.
Oh, I did not. It didn't even click to me that was Chris Hero. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Chris Hero in TNA, Ring of Honor, and all of the other things. But when he's on WB TV, that is not right. Sending to Warner Brothers, WWE TV, he is Cassius Ohno.
Chris Hero gained a little bit of weight then, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's
I
what threw me
understand why
off.
you didn't understand my hero joke last week too, when I said he's back for the first time.
Okay, he's gained a little bit of weight. I didn't even recognize that was Chris Hero.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, that match was actually pretty decent.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there were several times where I was like hoping that Cassius Ohno kind of beat Bobby Roode. But yeah, it was an alright match. It was definitely the best match on the card. I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah, best match of the night. It made both of them look ridiculously strong. Made them look very strong. Even like a lot of people, oh, he lost, he's gonna be buried. But no, the way that he lost, the way that match went, it doesn't matter that Cassius Ohno lost. It matters that like that match, they looked so strong together. It does mean that we're gonna have a Nakamura versus Bobby Roode at TakeOver though, which that's gonna be match 2, and we're gonna get some much needed revenge for that busted knee.
Oh yeah, and of course the ending of that match will tell us a lot about Nakamura's future.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean I'm ready to see that rematch considering how the last one ended. Even though the knee injury just made the ending, the storytelling that much better. But
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that it was a legitimate injury, I'm ready to see that rematch. Bobby Roode's probably. Oh no, we'll see. We'll see if this is the send-off match for Nakamura.
Yeah, I mean, there was those rumors a few weeks ago that he wasn't listed as listed on some shows after WrestleMania, on the NXT shows after WrestleMania, but like they say, those cards are always subject to change. So I don't know if he just wasn't listed because they weren't sure if his knee was going to be fine and they want to start building something that's not going to be there, or if that means he was going to go be called up, which he's been talking about going to have his WrestleMania moment. And I don't know if that if he's just meaning his WrestleMania weekend moment, like he's at WrestleMania because TakeOver is part of WrestleMania, but it's not WrestleMania, not the actual WrestleMania show. I don't know if he was talking like that, or if he's going to have some part to play in WrestleMania, or what. But I mean, it could very well be a send-off show where he gets sent out on his back, and he wasn't he hasn't been able to compete until then, so he's going to get at least one more NXT match or something, or if he's going to take the title. See, that's the cool thing about NXT is, since it's not written by main roster people, you don't know where it's going. It's got more of the aesthetic of a indie show where you're not exactly sure what's going to happen. It's like watching a Ring of Honor. It's shot like Ring of Honor, but it's like watching a Ring of Honor or TNA for the past year. Not for the past 3 weeks though.
Yeah, don't do that.
But that NXT is it's a very interesting show. I'm wearing an NXT shirt right now, actually. And if you follow me on my vlog, you'll see how I got that NXT shirt. I mean, it's nothing really spectacular. I went to Hot Topic and bought it, but I mean, it's interesting because I'm wearing one right now. But yeah, I mean, NXT was a great show, and I'm really excited for TakeOver. I want to see this Ember Moon versus Asuka thing, and I'm hoping Asuka takes it and wins, and then leaves with the belt. I mean, leaves still wearing the belt. I don't mean like carries the belt to the main roster. But I mean, Lee's still holding the title, so she has to vacate it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for as well.
Yeah.
I mean, because like I said, like we kind of hit on before, that nobody deserves to beat Asuka on NXT. There's no women's wrestler that should pin Asuka clean, anyways. And she should just, keep the title, leave NXT undefeated, go to the main roster, and there's your there's your ready-made storyline right there.
Yeah, that's right. Like when you bring somebody over from another promotion that, like in boxing or in MMA, they're like, oh, he was undefeated in Bellator, so we're gonna bring him to the big stage. I think UFC's done that with a few different people that were undefeated in Bellator, undefeated in K1 or Pride, and they brought him over, and they got, in the case of what's his face, who's the guy that died, heart attack? Kimbo.
Kimbo Sauce.
Yeah. I mean, the Kimbo was like, I've never been defeated. He came in, got beat in like a minute. So, I mean, but those storylines, they're ready made. You've already got it. You don't have to build it because it's already built. So, I mean, that's the best way to go about booking Asuka. And then they have like a women's tournament for the belt, and you use that as a springboard to put the belt on Nikki Cross. And then you have the hold all the gold moment with Sanity, where you have Nikki Cross with that. You have, I don't know if they can get the belt on Young, but if they do, he takes it from Bobby Roode somehow. And then they get the tag team belt for, who are the other two dudes?
I don't know them by name.
Yeah, it's pretty much, so I don't know if that's going to be where they take it, but I would like to see that. I like those hold all the gold moments, and there's not any other stables in NXT, so it's kind of hard for them to do that without stables. So they've got one stable, and I'd like to see that. That'd be great. But that was Wednesday. Wednesday was a day.
Wednesday was a day. It's a day several times a week, or not several times a week.
Oh gosh,
several times a month. But I mean,
the other thing that had, it was the day. But what happened on Monday?
What happened on Monday is we saw that Kevin Owens is a bad man.
I'm a bad man.
He's a bad man, as Stephen A. Smith would say. He's a bad man. I mean that promo was gold.
I feel you.
That promo was gold. And if we had a line of the night category somewhere in this podcast, it would be the only thing that will be left of Y2J will be the tears of Jericho. Cried out.
I
man.
like it.
I was that is the line of the week. It was great.
I like it. Yeah, it was. I don't know. This was a good building show.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't much of a. I don't know. Most of the stuff that went on SmackDown was good building towards stuff, but it didn't get us anywhere that far. But it did get us some good traction, just not very much distance, if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't know. We had the Heyman promo, and it really made. I love seeing Paul Heyman come out there because he can show that he knows how to control an audience. He needs to take Roman Reigns under his wing and tell Roman Reigns how to talk to people. Gosh,
that he does.
Yeah, Roman Reigns is like a skunk, like that skunk you hit. That all your friends have said Roman Reigns is good on your Facebook wall.
we won't discuss that here. We won't do it. We won't do it.
But yeah, like he can control an audience. And they started saying Goldberg, and he was like, "Okay, say Goldberg then." And then they stopped talking. Like if I were gonna pick somebody that was best on the mic ever, I'd put Paul Heyman up there. Paulie Dangerously is the best on the mic, one of the best on the mic ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he knows he's definitely the best at what he does as far as from a managerial standpoint and just talking in general. He knows what he's doing, and like he said, he can control a crowd, and he can build his, well, I guess we'll say client, without his client saying a word.
Yeah.
Like Brock Lesnar maybe has said, he might have said like what, five words in the past year.
Yeah.
And everyone can see him as a monster by how Paul Heyman describes him. That Paul Heyman creates that aura for Brock Lesnar. Without Paul Heyman, there really is no Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And
it's like that weird promo they did like 2 weeks ago where they put the spotlight on him and had him sitting in a chair just like staring at the camera. That was all Paul Heyman.
Yeah. I mean, Paul Heyman is truly great at what he does. And like you said, if he took Roman Reigns under his tutelage, I guess you could say, it would help Roman,
immensely.
Yeah, it'd help him so much. And especially if they decided to finally be like, hey, Roman, you can be a heel now. But yeah, that needs to happen at some point.
What Roman said at the end of the night, said he was going to retire Hulk Hogan. I was thinking of heel and thought Hulk Hogan. He said he was going to retire the Undertaker. That's something a heel says. Exactly. It feels like they're trying to make him. It's like he wants to be a heel. It feels like he went off script there and he wants to be the heel. He knows he's the heel, but they're just pushing him as a face. It's this weird booking, just like that weird booking I was talking about on SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, with that, I'm kind of hoping that's kind of a foreshadowing of what we see. Like I said, if there's any time that Roman Reigns could turn heel and it be justified and be just legit, it would be now. I mean, he's facing the faces of all faces, the staple in the industry, the Undertaker, and if you're going to turn him heel, now is the time.
I highly doubt it because it's something we're going to cover in the rumor section, but I mean, I agree with you.
I can dream, damn it.
I mean, I'm not destroying your dreams. That's WWE doing that. Just like they did to CM Punk.
And now we're forced to hear CM Punk chants all the time.
Yep. I'm gonna go, next time I go to a WWE show, I'm gonna start a Colt Cabana chant. Colt Cabana, boom boom. I don't know how many people would join me, but
people might just look at you like, "What the hell is this?
Who's Colt Cabana?" What's wrestling? We're here to see sports entertainment.
This is sports entertainment, boys. Don't
know
what you're talking about, that Colt Cabana shit. Anyways.
Drinking Colt 45 over there? But yeah, so it was great. You want to talk about the women's division though?
Yeah, we can talk about the women's division.
First off, I want to say, did you see the Rainmaker that Dana Brooke threw? Oh my God, that was amazing.
I was impressed.
That was amazing. That needs to be her new finisher. I don't know what her old finisher is when she was in NXT, but Rainmaker needs to be her new finisher. Because that was devastating to Charlotte. But dude, so the women's division, the women's match, we saw Sasha win with a tights pull. Like bad guys do, holding the tights to get extra leverage, and cheating. It's cheating. Because you're not supposed to pull a singlet. I wrestled in high school. I know you're not supposed to be pulling on the singlet. In football, you're not supposed to be pulling on the helmet. That's what is that called? That's like a horse collar.
Well, if you pull on the helmet, it's technically a face mask if you touch any part of the helmet.
Well, that's true.
You're not supposed to be pulling on the collar. That's a horse collar.
Yeah. You know what I meant. I was thinking of like the upper body area. You're not supposed to be messing with the gear. And that's what heels do. That's what the Raiders do.
That's what the
The Raiders are heels. That's their thing. They're like the Road Warriors. But that's a heel thing to do. Sasha was doing something bad, and Bayley was like cheering her on. So, are we seeing Sasha Banks heel turn?
We are. I believe we're seeing a Sasha Banks heel turn. It's the tights pull, the constant interference in matches.
The Snoop Dogg video where he shoots Donald Trump.
Wait, what?
Did you not see this? There's a Snoop Dogg video where he shoots Donald Trump. It's a heel turn.
It's a heel turn. Well, I ain't gonna say it. Anyways, but I mean, yeah, and even kind of like the little backstage segment with Bayley, kind of points to her turning heel. I think it's inevitable. I don't know if it'll be at WrestleMania, if it'll be before WrestleMania, but she's gonna turn, and I think that might have a little bit to do with Dana Brooke turning face, or tweener face, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure where Dana Brooke will go. With Emma eventually coming back someday, possibly.
Maybe. Fake news.
Ava Marie, I don't know. Maybe we'll see her, Dana Brooke, and Emma be like a tweener, mostly heelish team, which I wouldn't mind seeing, because I feel like I sound like Grimace just then. That's like not what I wouldn't mind seeing that, because they're both good-ish. Emma's a lot better than Dana Brooke. I mean, but that Rainmaker though, dude, that was awesome. And then like, where does this put Nia? I mean, how do we get to that fatal 4-way that I was talking about?
Well, I mean, at this point, we saw Nia, destroy Bayley. I'm not going to say destroy Bayley, but beat Bayley on Monday. And, I mean, I think all of that can be intertwined together. It's kind of hard to... I'm trying to think of what Nia could do at this point to make it a fatal 4-way. And I'm thinking the possibilities at this point may be hard, because everything is so... Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha heavy that I don't know if Nia can, interject herself into the match at this point, but maybe we just can, maybe we see Charlotte and Nia kind of team up to beat Bayley and Sasha. I don't know.
What I have a feeling it's gonna be less of her interjecting herself and Stephanie McMahon injecting her into the match. Because she said, I deserve a title shot. And Stephanie McMahon was like, oh, of course you deserve a title shot. Come on, let's put you in this thing. And it feels like if you felt like she deserved it, why wasn't she involved in this earlier on?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it feels like Stephanie's just going to put her in there to mess up Sasha and Bayley and possibly Charlotte. I mean, she likes Charlotte, but like with this thing going on with Dana, I have a feeling that's going to be involved in this, and it's going to become a McMahon in every corner, but every McMahon is Stephanie McMahon type thing. So I don't know. Either way, Stephanie wins basically. Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at with that. But speaking of Stephanie McMahon, I'm not going to make that joke. She told Mick Foley he had to fire somebody.
And he decided that he was going to fire Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like, everything he said was true. Every time it's like they've got these weird moments of clarity where they where they say things that are like, what the world is thinking, and then all of a sudden they're like, nope, back to our little world where we disregard everything.
Disregard logic.
Yep. It's like Fox News.
Good comparison. Not gonna lie.
That's true. Oh golly, my back popped. But yeah. So, did we actually get somebody fired?
I don't know.
I thought I read that T.J. Perkins was the person. Like, I feel like I missed something at the end of SmackDown and something at the end of Raw. Like, I feel like what I watched was missing something, and I don't know, because like as you read the news throughout the week, you're like, did that actually happen? And I don't know if I just like missed it, or if I actually missed, or if like it was like cut off the feed that I watched. I don't know. Like, I heard T.J. Perkins was fired, but I don't know if that's true.
Well, he was on 205 Live, so.
Yeah, I mean, firing somebody that's on 205 Live though, it might be just firing them from the brand, but not from the company. So that's kind of why I was like, I thought he was on 205 Live. Was he fired? Because that's what I read was somebody, but like the way news comes out so fast and stuff, sometimes you're like, I don't know. So somebody let me know in the comments below if I've not missed something, or if I'm just reading somebody else's jumping to conclusions, because that'll help me out, because then I'll know not to trust the source that I got that from. But yeah, so T.J. Perkins, I wasn't even talking about T.J. Perkins. So this whole thing felt like it was a rehash of the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I can see that in a way. Especially when we start getting into the whole authority figures and all of that. But, we kind of saw. I was happy to see Triple H back.
Oh, yeah.
And he delivered, as he always does, with his usual cerebral assassin-esque
Feels like he's got cerebral palsy sometimes.
But,
well, Mick Foley, you're a monkey, and you're gonna jump whenever my wife says jump.
But yeah, I'm not sure if in all of that with Triple H and Rollins and all of this, if we actually got anybody fired. I don't know.
I don't know.
I know
we got AJ fired. But I thought Mick Foley, after Triple H came out and embarrassed him, I thought he was off in the corner JBLing. And he's like one of those sadomasochists, just, oh yeah, that was great, JBL. And then we saw Socko.
Socko made a comeback.
Socko-mania. That's what it needs to be called. Socko-mania, not punch somebody in the face mania. That's what we need. Socko-mania. And he showed up and he applied the mandible claw. It was amazing. And then what you were talking about, Seth Rollins. I love that he came out and dropped the not cane. The crutch, that's the word I'm looking for. I love that he came out and dropped the crutch the way he did. That was awesome. Like, I don't know if you follow on their Twitter, but WWE, it was either WWE or Seth Rollins had said that he was, earlier that day, tweeted out that he was cleared for basic function. So I have a feeling that the doctor that cleared him for basic function doesn't realize what his basic function is.
Doesn't realize that he's probably going to get, tossed around a little bit.
Yeah, like when I got cleared for basic function after I blew out my knee, they said I was cleared for basic function, and my basic function was just like walk into class. I'm pretty sure that's what they thought he was going to be doing. And the doctor that cleared him said, "Oh, basic function, he'll be fine." And now he's like kicking somebody in the face and getting his leg beat up with a crutch.
Like the doctor sitting there watching, I was like, hey, there's Seth Rollins. Okay, you know.
Hey, there's that dude.
He's just kind of walking
he
a
told
little
me
bit.
what he does.
Yeah, he should be fine. He should. What the fuck?
Yeah, like
No.
he's sitting there saying, "Oh, this guy told me what he does. I wonder if he said he's going to be on the show. He wanted to thank me. Oh my God,
Who does these things?
He's going to be back. I'm glad he's going to be back. Going to make me some more money.
My license.
But man, this is definitely going to be an interesting. This is turning out to be an interesting storyline more than I expected it to be. Yeah. Maybe they're going to fire Seth Rollins.
Maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him for that. The other thing that happened, another reason why this was a remake of the Attitude Era, Reigns called out The Undertaker. And who showed up?
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn frickin' Michaels. The Heartbreak Kid. He showed up to tell him, he told him that he was going to say that Undertaker was in his head. But the thing is, if Undertaker had actually been in his head and gotten that distraction, then he would have lost that match to Jinder Mahal. He wouldn't have won. So this shows that he's so Superman that Undertaker can't even get in his head. And when other people say Undertaker's in his head, he just says, nope, screw you. I'm Seth Rollins. I'm Roman Reigns. I can do whatever I want. Roman Reigns away. Like, they're making him look even more Supermanish. And like, there's a reason why Superman comics don't sell as well as Spider-Man comics. I mean, or Batman. Right now, if I were going to like make allusions to other properties, you have Seth Rollins being booked as Superman. People don't buy Superman comics. Not Seth Rollins.
Roman Reigns.
I keep wanting to say Seth Rollins. You got Roman Reigns being booked as Superman. And then you've got Seth Rollins being booked as like Batman. People want to see Batman. They don't care about Superman. Like, people went to see the Batman movie. They didn't go see the Superman movie. They didn't go see the Superman versus Batman because Superman was in it. That's what's going on here. They just don't know how to. It feels like they don't know how to build him. They're pushing Rollins as if he is Cena now, without the build-up. The reason why Cena is so powerful, has so many people wanting him to win, is because he started off as a heel. He was like the white kid gangster, and people don't like that. And that's what got the heel heat that he got. And then eventually he started getting face heat because people turned him face. Reigns, they keep pushing him as a face, but nobody likes it. It feels like they're jamming him down your throat.
Yeah, I mean, with Reigns, you are being forced to like him. With Cena, it's something that happened organically.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, you can't make Roman Reigns look invincible, basically. I mean, Taker gets in everybody's head. I mean, that's just how Taker works.
Storyline.
It doesn't matter who you are, unless you're Kane when you're a demon. Taker is going to get into your head. And the fact that he's just kind of like, oh, you know, Taker, I'm Roman Reigns. You forget, I'm the big dog. You know, it's a little bit annoying, but I do like how they brought, you know, Shawn Michaels out to kind of give that warning. Yeah,
but the warning is great, but the way that he reacted to the music, he was like, oh, there's some other music playing. Let me go back to my match. And it just feels like that warning didn't, like, the warning, there's no point in giving that warning because he's not actually in his head because he's just, Roman Reigns, I'm invincible. My brain is even invincible. And
like, I'm not worried about Taker. Everybody's worried about Taker.
I'm not worried about anything. I'm Roman Reigns. They can't book me to lose. The Rock even said so. And then The Rock comes out to try to get him over, and The Rock gets sad.
When The Rock gets booed, you know something just isn't right.
I'm trying to think, was that WrestleMania like 3 years ago or something?
That was Royal Rumble.
Oh, Royal Rumble from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, oh, so sad.
Maybe I shouldn't associate myself with you. You're the worst.
You're no longer in the family. The Usos will take your place. There's 2 of them, so it's okay. I don't know. But it just seems not so good. But the other thing that seemed really good. Seemed really good. We're gonna go with that. Did you watch the club match?
I watched it, but now I can't remember it.
It wasn't even a club match. It was a Cesaro.
Cesaro and
it was
Sheamus match.
Sheamus O'Shaughnessy and Antonio Cesaro versus Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore. I was trying to think of his first name. That's the only one that actually uses his first name still, and I couldn't think of it. Enzo Amore. And it was a good match until I loved Enzo's promo that he did before. I love all of Enzo's promos he does before the match. But I love this one, how they brought out one of their new merch items, a cup of haters, and I want one of those cups. I want one so bad. I almost bought a shirt though that said "Bada Boom" from their Bada Bing Bada Boom thing.
Yeah.
I almost bought that the other day, but instead I bought an NXT shirt. You can see me buying this NXT shirt on my vlog, or a Kevin Owens shirt. But I'm in a feud with Kevin Owens because he's in a feud with Jericho. We've discussed this though, so I thought it would have been bad. And they also didn't have any shirts in XL. They were only in smalls. So, but the match was actually pretty good for a minute until the club shows up and destroys everybody. Did you see the reason why they destroyed everybody?
I'm gonna just say because they're the club.
Well, that's true, but Mick Foley said whoever wins gets to take them on at WrestleMania. So they said, you said whoever wins takes us on at WrestleMania. So we decided there was going to be no winner. So there's going to be no match, and we're just going to stay being the dominant force. And Mick Foley was like, that's not how it works. I should fire both of you. And so I think it's going to be a 3-way.
Yeah, it's
at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think they've booked it where it's a 3-way elimination.
Yeah,
tag team match.
I think that's right.
Which will be interesting because typically, you have these 3 teams. When someone gets pinned, that team goes, and now you've got I don't know. Maybe I took it the wrong way. Maybe that's still how it works. But it'd still be cool if they had it to where if one member of the team was gone, eliminated, then just that member was gone. But
I think that's what I thought they were doing.
That's what I'm hoping they're doing, and it's not just your team gets eliminated if someone gets pinned, and then we'll battle it out between these two, because that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like where, let's say Anderson gets pinned in the first minute, and then it's Gallows versus Enzo and Cass and Sheamus and Cesaro. That'd be a really interesting match. I hope it's that way, but I'm not sure. But I do know it's going to be a 3-way, and I don't know. WrestleMania seems really multi-man match heavy this year, and I thought Vince hated those. So I thought Vince and Ryan Cloud, you've been booking with them, right?
God, I hate multi-man.
But I thought Vince hated those matches. It's a thing. It's a staple in Ring of Honor. Like Ring of Honor has tons of multi-man matches, but WWE doesn't. But I have a feeling there could be something along the lines of, well, I guess this gets us into rumor stuff, but, like, I heard that a lot of this Triple H has started taking over a lot of booking, and with these multi-man matches and that being a staple of some of these indie promotions, that could have something to do with him being more in charge of booking recently.
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably, I have a feeling that's what's going on with that, but I don't know, these multi-man matches at WrestleMania seem kind of weird.
Yeah, but it almost feels, I mean, with that, I guess it's kind of a let's get everybody on WrestleMania type of deal.
Yeah, everybody's got to get that payday.
Basically kind of what they do with the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just throw everybody in here so they can get on WrestleMania, and with the exception of Baron Corbin, let's not use it to their advantage at all. I mean, at least Baron Corbin kind of, they kind of gave him that title for several months after that. Like, hey, he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Woo!
They still talk about that occasionally.
Yeah, he's the only one that's received that treatment.
I mean, they talked about, was it Cesaro that won it once as well?
Yeah, he won it once, and I remember him talking about it for a minute, but
they were talking about it over the in this match, actually. They were talking about it for,
did they?
I think they talked about it for a minute or two. Not a minute, but like some small amount of time during the match they talked about it. And then they brought it up that he won it along with the Big Show. So speaking of that, did you hear what possibly is going to be the Big Show's last match?
I have not heard anything about that.
Are you just talking about it?
Talking about Shaq?
Nah, you were just talking about it.
I was?
Yeah. What match were we just talking about?
The Battle Royal?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's possibly going to be his last match now. But it seems like there's going to be some kind of feud between him and Titus now going up to it. So that's going to be the thing to watch in the Battle Royal. Maybe. I don't know.
Poor Big Show.
Yeah. It seems sad.
Yeah. While we're okay.
I was going to say, a man like that needs a better way out.
He does. And with Shaq wouldn't have been a good final match either. It would have been a decent profile match just because it's Shaq, but as far as the rumor with that goes, the snag, or at least from what I've read, the snag that is preventing that match from happening is more financial than anything. So I'm guessing Shaq's wanting a big payday for that, and the WWE's just not willing to give him that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to pay some of their regular talent as much as they should. So what does Shaq think he's going to get that kind of payday?
Yeah, I don't think any WWE fan is crying about that match not happening. It's just more.
I was hoping I'd see some Shaq Fu.
It's just more of a tragedy that Big Show's, if the rumor's true that Big Show's last match is going to be in this Battle Royal, and there's going to be a subplot with Titus O'Neil of all people.
Yeah, I mean, Titus Brand is angry that he didn't get to get in the Jetsons movie with not Roman Reigns. I want to call Big Show Roman Reigns. With Big Show, and he messed up their. They had a little vignette between the New Day and the Big Show, and they got a little angry. Titus popped up and all that stuff. So I don't know where that's gonna go, but I don't want to see a feud like that, but at the same time, it looks like that's what we're going to get.
Sad day for Big Show.
Yeah. So did you get any other rumors? Hear any other thing?
Something else I heard, which I guess is a rumor, but it could be also... what's the word I'm looking for? It's a rumor, but it could also be proven fact if you got your hands on a contract. But apparently Goldberg's contract is up after WrestleMania.
Yeah, I heard that. The other thing that I heard that goes in with that, though, is So Vince McMahon told the writers that he wants to see Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at the next WrestleMania. Not the one coming up in a couple months, but at the next one. And he wants to see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. And that could bring us to a point where we see Brock Lesnar taking the belt at WrestleMania, kind of like what you just said, and carrying it for a year. What do you think about that?
Not a big fan of that. Don't have a problem with Brock Lesnar winning the title at WrestleMania because it's all but etched in stone. But for a part-timer to hold the belt that long, I mean, we kind of saw this the last time he held the belt and didn't make that many, appearances, even though a report I read said that he's supposed to be making more, but...
Yeah, he's supposed to be making like double the appearances that he made this past year.
Yeah, but...
How many appearances did he make? Like 7? That's 14.
Yeah, I mean, woo! But that weakens... In this case, it'd be weakening Raw if he's not going to defend his title on the regular. I mean, because then you got to find something to fill that void. And before we saw it was John Cena and his US title. It was a few things going on with the Shield here and there, or the breaking up of the Shield here and there, rather.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that would be a positive thing for them to do at this point.
Well, I mean,
at least for him holding it that long. I have no problem with him holding it, but if he's going to hold it for a whole year, he better be defending it for a whole year.
Well, I mean, 14 appearances, that's once a month to defend it. That keeps it within the rules. I mean, unless you're Dean Ambrose, who hasn't defended it still. But like it could elevate the IC, not IC title. What's the other title they have?
Raw is the U.S. title.
Yeah, that could elevate the U.S. title, because then you have everybody trying to vie for that belt, which would bring it up, and they could still vie for the chance to take on the belt from Brock Lesnar. So I mean, that could be, I could see that happening. I just want to see, but I would want to see him on more often. And if the reports are true that he is going to be on more often, I want to see that. But the thing is, if you listen to what Ryback said in a shoot, he said something about, what was it? That Vince McMahon understands that the fans don't like Roman Reigns, and like he doesn't want to push Roman Reigns like the next Cena. And then you hear a report like this where he's going to be the dominant force up until the next WrestleMania, where he takes the belt away. It feels like he's a crazy person who, like, at one point understands what's going on, and then another point goes off in cuckoo land. I mean, what I was saying about Jeff Jarrett earlier. And that's what this is. That's what this feels like. So I don't know. I mean, I really don't know where this goes. The other thing is, I don't know. I've got more rumors though. Do you have any other things? Any other thoughts on that?
No. And I think one of my rumors that I found you're about to talk about anyway, so I'll just let you roll.
Okay. So there's possible new names after WrestleMania, possibly seeing an AJ Styles on a Raw and Finn Balor on a Raw, and then like maybe the New Day being sent to SmackDown. So we're gonna see a trade between the New Day and AJ Styles? I don't understand that.
I guess if that does happen, there'll probably be the whole draft scenario where they're focusing more on trades than an actual draft this year. So I guess you could see it I guess I can see it like that. They'll probably trade, but as long as they make it look fair,
Yeah.
I'll be okay with it.
Like, a lot of the rumors circled around possibly a DIY revival and a New Day going over to SmackDown to infuse something into their tag division to make it better. And
they need it.
Oh yeah. And then AJ Styles, after he's been fired, being taken over to to Raw. And when he's at Raw, then maybe we see a revival of not the revival, but a revival of the new club. And then we see AJ versus Finn and the club fighting over who they should go behind and all this stuff. And recognizing the story that used to be the story that got all four of them prominence. And the thing where they're wearing what got Triple H to wear a Bullet Club shirt, what got Vince McMahon to wear a Bullet Club shirt, and the reason why they're trying to buy that Bullet Club name, even though and all their merch looks like Bullet Club merch. So, well, not all their merch. Finn's and AJ's doesn't look like Bullet Club stuff, but it looks like stuff that they had previously, which was similar but not exactly Bullet Club stuff. And Anderson and Gallows stuff looking dead on Bullet Club without the bullet on it. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that. But I know you don't like the Bullet Club, though. I know you hate AJ Styles and Finn Balor and all them. So.
Oh yeah, they're just the worst people on earth. But I love AJ Styles and Finn Balor. Well, AJ Styles more so than anybody else.
You all about them Georgia boys. I know what you do. But yeah, I mean, it's if AJ goes there, who do they trade? How does this become fair? And with this many people going to Raw to fight for basically the U.S. Championship, are there too many people on Raw?
To answer the whole AJ question, I guess technically if AJ is fired, they could just hire him on
That's
Raw.
true. That's true.
But yeah, that's a lot of people vying for one belt. Which I mean, there'll be a person here or there fight Brock Lesnar for the title, but obviously they'll lose if the plan is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, which they do kind of plan these things like a year in advance what they want to see at WrestleMania. So I won't be surprised. But I guess you could I guess we'll just have to wait and see. That is a lot of people vying for the U.S. title, and it's a lot of upper tier people that'd be vying for the U.S. title. I mean, you've got AJ, you still have KO and Jericho and Finn and.
Well, Jericho's going to be out for a little bit.
Okay.
We know that he's going to be leaving after WrestleMania, but I only think he's going to be gone for like 2 or 3 months, though. So yeah, he'll still be in that picture as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, and then you've got Rollins, and which may still be entangled in a feud with Triple H and Roman Reigns. So yeah, that's a lot of upper tier people fighting for one belt. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think it'll be like 11 guys. Which I mean, in the big scheme of things, 11 guys is not a lot, but that's a lot of people
for one belt. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's like 6 and 11 people, 6 on SmackDown and 11 on Raw. If you include AJ, don't quote me on those numbers though, but I think that's what it is, and it just seems heavy. But at the same time, you don't necessarily need a belt to tell some of these stories. Finn versus AJ or reformation of the club, you don't really need them fighting for a belt for that story to get over. Just like you really don't need a belt to be traded back and forth with the Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens and Jericho thing. You don't really need belts involved with this. They could all still, like, once the belt's been lost, they could still be fighting for the respect to figure out why you had to lose this belt. Another thing that they were talking about is possibly Sami Zayn going to SmackDown, which I don't know if I like that. But if they're going to take AJ, they got to have somebody that's technical and good like that, and Sami Zayn is. But I don't know. But you've got enough storylines that all intertwine with each other. The only thing that intertwines these storylines, though, is that belt. So, I mean, of course, they're all vying for that belt, but you don't necessarily need a belt to tell the stories that they're telling.
Right.
Yeah. And did you have anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. So, I mean, just like excuse me. This podcast seems like it's run out of air, just like one of the inflatable Bailey. I can't even say it. Just like one of the inflatable flailing arm Bailey buddies. So I guess that's the end.
Well, we still got our choices for match of the week and etc.
That's true. I think I gave mine earlier, and that's why I was like, we're done now.
Screw your opinions, Ryan Cloud. You don't deserve to make these opinions. I see how it is.
That's true.
It's cool. My match of the week's probably your match of the week, so.
I mean, you're going to pick a match of the week that you ain't even seen yet? That's crazy.
I didn't say I hadn't seen that match. I said I saw it. I didn't say I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah, you said
assumed.
you were just... Okay, fine. Unless you watched it while we were I wasn't paying attention. I understand. It's cool.
Adam Cole and Christopher Daniels.
That or the Hardys. That's what I'm saying is Adam Cole and Christopher Daniels or the Hardys versus the Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice.
That match I haven't seen.
Dude, you got to see that one. It's awesome. And then I guess for Fighter of the Week, I want to give it to TK O'Reilly, but only because that botch makes me feel like I need to give him that.
He could have died.
But seriously, everybody go to his Pro Wrestling Tees store, prowrestlingtees.com/TK O'Reilly, I think, and go get one of those shirts. They are awesome. They're hilarious. It's horrible. It's great. It's horribly great. But go buy one of his shirts. It's awesome. And I'm going to give him the honorable mention. And then the person I'm going to give the Fighter of the Week to is probably Christopher Daniels. Because, man, that match was ridiculous. For the shirts, we'll leave a description, or we'll leave a link down in the description. We don't get any money by that, for that anyway.
No.
Just help him out because it's cool. And Ryan Cloud, how about you?
Oh, well, like I said, match of the week was definitely Christopher Daniels and Adam Cole because the storytelling in that match was spot on, with this basically being a win or go home match for Christopher Daniels for a title, and just the spot with the I'm not gonna call it turnbuckle rail, whatever you want to call it. The ring post. The ring post. Yeah, the ring post was just nasty.
Yeah.
But that's definitely the match of the week by far. And the wrestler for the week, I'm going to give it to, and I've done it before, Kevin Owens for that golden promo that he put together. And like I said, he had the line of the week if we had such a category. So
KO Mania running wild up in this.
KO Mania is running wild.
I love that shirt that he had. It was a WrestleMania 2 shirt, but with KO like written on some tape on it.
But yeah, those are my two choices for the week. So
who do we need to watch next week? What's the storyline we need to watch next week?
The storyline we need to, I'm just going to throw it out there. The storyline we need to watch next week is this whole Mick Foley, Triple H Authority type deal, just to see if we got anybody fired.
Okay.
And I'll also throw in the whole Seth Rollins angle with Triple H in there as well, because we're kind of seeing that building week after week now that we know that Rollins has been cleared for basic function, quotation marks. You can't see me doing air quotes, but I'm doing them.
I believe you.
So yeah, that's what I would watch for.
Okay. On my end, I think the thing to watch is probably going to be this Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton thing. I don't think we even talked about this at all. But Bray Wyatt has basically leveled up. I mean, like if this were an RPG, and then like that thing that happens middle of the game to make your characters jump like 5 levels because of some traumatic event that's like a cinematic, that basically just happened this week, and he's leveled up. So I have a feeling that we're going to see something big come out of that. Also, Eric Rowan has been cleared for basic function as well as of sometime this past week, middle of the week. So I have a feeling we're going to see some Eric Rowan here pretty soon. So that I don't know if that's going to be as soon as this week or if that's going to happen at WrestleMania, but right now I think this is going to go somewhere in the next week or two. So probably check that out. Anything else, Ronco?
Nah, I think we're good, man.
All right. Well, I guess like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. Hit us up on the socials at Shooting Star what is it? SS Press. Hold on. Let me do that again. Hit us up on the socials. Hit us up on the socials. Ron Cloud, what are those?
On our Twitter, you can hit us up at SS Press Podcast, and you can hit us up in our
Facebook. You can hit us up on our Facebook.
Oh yeah, you can hit us.
Is it Shooting Star Press Podcast on Facebook?
Yep. And you can hit us up on YouTube at the Shooting Star Press, and we are also available on Player FM under the Shooting Star Press tag, and you can get all of our podcasts there as well.
And Podbean and SoundCloud, and soon on Patreon, eventually, if we ever get enough followers. Hashtag sad day. Play that sad music right here. Do, 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 do. Do. Oh, no, that's You're Beautiful. I'm sorry. But yeah, hit us up there, and I guess other than that, we'll catch you on the flip flop.